All right, you grasshoppers. Yes, he is back by popular, and I do mean popular demand. The great, the one and only Mark Puttenvink. We were just having a great conversation. Briefly, Mark and I know I say this all the time. Mark and I met each other. He had worked for the Rangers many years ago. We didn't know each other at that point, but he was a strength and conditioning coach. He's worked for the New England Patriots and does boxing and training. He has a company called Patriot Training Systems. If everybody wants to get an expert trainer, he's not just a handsome stud, but he's an intelligent man too. But it was interesting. We're going to do a show on this, but Mark's very open to talk about this, and we had a great conversation. Mark was adopted. He was adopted when he was like 10 weeks old or something, and really interesting about the whole process he went through and how his family now, his adopted family, is just his family. And I think, and when we're talking, I think it's important to do a show about it. You know, there's other young people out there that are going through a similar situation. And hey, it happens. And Mark's, well, he's semi-normal now. I don't know if you're totally normal.
As normal as I could be considering, but I always felt gifted that it was a gift, and I was a special kid. Now I'm a special adult, but that's a different story. So I'm very, very proud of it. And it really, when you think about it, and when you get older too, and you look back upon it, you realize what your parents did for you to adopt you. You know what was in their heart, what was in their mind. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. You know, Mark's played a big role in all my transformation too, with the True Grit Life stuff, the training, and I'm super stubborn. And he had told me for a long time. A lot of people told me about intermittent fasting. It was finally Mark that finally explained it all to me. So, but it was funny, I was on the phone the other day with this Chinese woman, and she was born and raised Chinese, so her English wasn't that great. And I get so fired up about life now, just in general. So she said to me, she says, "You need to slow down a little bit for me." She's so sweet and everything like that. She says, "My English isn't that good, and you talk so fast." And I find myself that I'm loving life so much now that I'm just nuts.
I'm sure you pick it up, or you did when you first came down from Canada, like New York, New Jersey. We talk so fast that we blend words together.
Right.
Like, instead of saying "Did you eat?" we would say "Jeet."
Jeet.
I had a sandwich. And Andreas Johansson, who I think played for every team in the NHL pretty much, but he was there when I was there in New York. And he came into Rye Playland one day. We had practice. And he said, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" I said, "Sure. What do you need, bud?" "I have two friends coming in from Stockholm. When they get here, could you talk Jersey to them?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." Because Sopranos was really hot at that time.
Yeah, that's funny. That is funny stuff. Same thing too, the Canadian accent. I talk to Canadians now, and where I grew up, and I was like this until I got here. At the end of every sentence, you say "Hey."
Yeah.
So, "Hey, you doing, Mark? Eh? You're going for a beer, eh?" And I listen to them talk now. And go, why the heck did we do? Why did we do that? I don't know where that comes from.
I'm sure you heard this joke a bazillion years ago, but how they came up with the word Canada?
No.
Oh, you didn't. So all the Canadian forefathers got together, and they said, "We got to name this country. It's great here." So they took all the alphabet letters, chopped them up, put them in a hat, and each guy grabbed in. The first guy grabbed C. He went, "C, eh?" Second guy went, "Hey."
That is good. I think I did hear that a long time. That's very funny. The other funny Canadian joke is Canadians are so polite that if four Canadians came to a four-way stop in their cars, that they would never go. They'd always go, "You go, you go, you go."
That was a big surprise for me too, really. When especially the Ontario guys.
Yeah.
What was his name? They got him from Edmonton. His name escapes me now. Really nice kid. But we went out. I remember the first day he was with the team, and we were doing something. I said something, and he turns around and goes, "Pardon?" I'm like,
"Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. Polite. Yeah. It is funny, right? Like they're raised to, on the farm boys, especially raised to be polite, respectful, humble. But then you go on the ice, you can break somebody's arm.
Right? It's taking somebody's head off. Yeah. It's a different thing.
Yeah. All right. So we want to talk a little training today. What was the term you used?
Well, I mean, there's different terms. My own term is compressed training. And that means getting a lot of work done in a very compressed amount of time. And the good thing about this is it helps your time management, but you can also do multiple workouts in a day. Some people call it burst training. Some people call it Tabata training. Tabata is a protocol where you work really at pretty much peak for 20 seconds, and then you bring it down for 10 seconds, 20 and 10, and you go through this. And
I've got an app called Tabata on my phone. It's a tiny app.
The Tabata was actually a Japanese sports scientist researcher that came up with the protocol. And, you could do variations of that. I know, like when I would ride up a bike ride for the guys, we did a lot of sprints with a little bit of rest, and it kind of mimics your shift, when you're on the ice.
Sure.
And the good news about it is you're getting a real burst of anaerobic activity. And then while you're recovering in that 10-second period, you're breathing heavy. So it's aerobic. So you're getting anaerobic work and aerobic work all in the same workout. And there are protocols that can be short as 4 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes. You could do 20 minutes. I wouldn't do more than that because it's pretty taxing on your system.
So you're doing like a circuit similar.
You could do a circuit. You could do sprint work. You could do, like my fighters will go really hard on the back for 20 seconds and then just touching it with a jab. And then they go getting really hard. And
so it's kind of like they call it that HIIT program, height interval.
Yeah, pretty much. It's high intensity. Yeah, right. It's the HIIT, HITT. But what I like about it, Tom, is, I mean, I have a leg workout that the first time I did it in 12 minutes. And I looked at it, I said, how hard could this be? So I went to the field, you do 20 bodyweight squats. And I don't know why it's 8, but you walk 8 yards and you do 1 squat jump. You walk back 8 yards, you do 19 squats. You walk back out, you do 2 squat jumps until you hit 20 and 0. So I thought, okay, got to 10 and 10, it's nothing. And when I finally got done, it took me a little bit over 12 minutes. I grant you, it was in August, Tom. It took me about 40 minutes to stop sweating. Yeah. And then not the next day, but the following day, about 48 hours later, going upstairs, no problem. Coming down.
Yeah.
And so I gave it to my friend, Nathan, Nathan Parrott, and he's a big dude. He did it. And he called me. I said, oh, did you do the leg thing? Yeah, it's okay. 3 days later, call me. Every name under the sun. Yeah.
So I like this. So let me ask you. So supersets, similar, right? So let's say you can do, if you're working 2 different body parts, let's say biceps and triceps. So you could do a set of bicep curl, and then you do a tricep extension, something like that. And you do.
And that's a perfect example of compressed training because you're working antagonistic muscles. In other words, bicep is pulling in, triceps pushing out. So you're working push and pull. And we also call that peripheral heart training because you're getting your heart rate up, right?
Oh,
because you're not taking a break between.
So I like that. I do supersets sometimes, but you know what though? So I should probably do supersets more often because why not just do supersets all the time with every exercise, right?
And as we spoke, I'll review what we spoke about a little bit last week. When you get to that 45 to 55 minute period, your testosterone is going to start to bottom out. So if you can get the bulk of your, good warm up and then really get at it for 20 minutes and then kind of cool down, it's a great way to work it. Right. And again, I was so Saturday we had a skate and one of my friends came down. He has 3 boys with him, and we were talking about training and what I said to the boys was, do this for a week straight. Every time you walk into your bedroom or walk out of your bedroom, do 10 push-ups. The following week, every time you walk into your bedroom or walk out of your bedroom, do 25 body squats. The following week after that. So you can, there's fun ways to do this. David Goggins, who you're familiar with, who's the SEAL who wrote that book, Can't Hurt Me. He was kind of hired by this guy, Jason, I forget his last name now, really wealthy dude, to live with him for a month. Because he said to Goggins, what's your secret sauce? He said, well, the only way I can show you is I got to live with you for a month. Right. And without going into great detail, it was a crazy month. But he would show up, he was at his side wherever this guy went. And he owns, right now, I think he owns the largest coconut water business. And so he'd be in the office, full suit. Goggins would go, hey, burpee test. He goes, what do you mean? Not burpee test. How many can you do in 10 minutes? What? Just do them. And he did them. And you're not going to get really sweaty. Like if you just, right? So he said, but I walked into that meeting and I slammed it. I closed the deal. He said, it got me so jacked up. And this is the kind of thing, like, again, if you're at a desk, I know a lot of people are working from home now. Take 3 minutes, step off to the side. Do what I used to do is 5 push-ups, 5 squats, 10 push-ups, 10 squats, boom, 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 up to 25. It takes you about 3 minutes. Right. Get back to work. Do it again. Do it a few more
times. It really increases your energy level too, right? I mean, you're sitting at the desk, so you start getting tired.
Yeah, well, your pull bloods into your legs. Like this morning, and then there's other ways. There's AMRAP, which is it's an acronym for as many reps as possible in time. So maybe if you pick out pull-ups and you want to say, how many pull-ups can I do in 20 minutes? And you just keep doing them until you're out of gas. And at the end of 20 minutes, and you'd be surprised what you can crank out.
So what if you've already gone and done your workout in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
You've had a pretty good workout. You still want to be doing stuff like that during the day?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of workout. If you did a heavy workout, a heavy weightlifting workout in the morning, if you want to do something in the afternoon, it would be more, I would say, more skill orientated.
Right.
You know,
and stay away from, let's say you did a chest exercise and chest workout in the morning. You want to stay away from working your chest later on during the day, right?
Probably, but there's no reason you can't do some body weight squats.
Right.
You know, and part of that too also helps when every time you work out, especially with heavy weight, you're going to get a lot of what we call metabolic waste. And by doing it like a 15-minute bike ride, and that's why, when you guys came off the ice in practice or a game, I had you do a bike ride, depending on how much ice time you got in the game. But it was really, it wasn't conditioning as much as to flush out that metabolic waste.
Right. All right. So let me just, it intrigues me here. So let's say I'm doing a chest workout in the morning. Mm-hmm. So the process for the chest workout is you go in and you're breaking down muscle tissue. And then after that, now you're coming back, you're getting your proteins into you, the muscles rebuilding and rebuild stronger. So if you didn't give it that rest period and now you continue to work the chest during the day, it's not really recuperating and building the way it should be building, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Especially if you did a really taxing workout in the morning. Yeah. And this is one of the the CrossFit workout is very popular right now. But there are occasions in CrossFit where people end up in the hospital. And that's because they break down the muscle tissue so intensely without letting it recover. There's a byproduct, I forget the name of it, but they end up in the hospital. It's pretty, it can be a dangerous process.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people don't realize, right? I mean, that is the process. So you need to rest that muscle so that it regenerates. And then you can go back at it in 2 days or whatever. But you can't be, Hey, good. I like this right here. Diane Ack wrote in something. I'm down 20 pounds since February. I've been using keto recipes and eating low carb. I will start working out before breakfast to get the maximum impact of fat burning. Good job, Diane.
Excellent, Diane. Excellent. Yeah. And that's the other part of it. Exactly, Diane. If you get your workout in and it's still in your fasted state, really doubling your effect.
Okay, there's a question for you. Okay, so as you know, as you have taught me, autophagy begins after 12 hours since your last meal, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So, and you get your maximum out of your autophagy period if you work out during that autophagy period.
Correct.
So if I stop eating at 8 o'clock at night, autophagy begins at 8 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah.
But if I get my workout in at 4:30 in the morning, so my workout isn't happening when I'm in my state of autophagy.
No, but it's still going to be effective because the effect of your workout doesn't just stop the moment you stop training.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It continues on. Right. So that you're right. That whole period of the muscles now are regenerating. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, good. Here's another question for you. I do a show on Tuesdays with a really nice person, Allie, and we call her the nerd, or she calls herself the nerd. She's the epidemiologist. She's great. And she made a comment the other day, which I think a lot of people believe is true, but I'm going to take it to task a little bit. The theory that your muscle mass decreases as you get older.
Short term.
Well, but I have an issue with that.
I'll tell you why. Remember the old, and you're right, but I'm going to tell you why that thought is. And remember the old, when you're 30, you lose a half a step. If you're a football player or even skate, you're going to lose a half a step. You probably lost half a step because you're not training as hard as you were when you were 20, trying to make it into the league.
Yes.
And it's the same thing. No, the amount of muscle mass you lose is predicated upon what you're doing, how long will you continue to work out. I met Gordie Howe when he was 60.
Right.
6 years old. His traps were still touching his ears.
Yeah.
The guy was a mountain. You know?
Right. So here's another one too, a famous one. So Zdeno Chara. I think he's a better skater now at, what is he, 40 or something years old than he was. 44. Is he 44? Than he was earlier because he's trained himself differently now. He's learned new stuff. I agree totally. So I think with the muscle, and the reason I bring up the muscle mass thing is I think so many people they hear these kinds of sayings, and it's a common saying, you're going to lose muscle mass as you get older. They say, well, I'm not going to work out the same. I'm going to go running more, walking more, or ride my bike instead of getting in and lifting weights because I'm going to lose the muscle mass anyways, as opposed to saying, no, that's not true. I'll just keep on lifting weights and eat properly. And
we do know that resistance work keeps muscle mass on. It also keeps your bone density. Because bone is a tissue. People forget it's tissue. And the resistance, your body reacts and the bone stays dense. And this is why when people get older, they don't do any resistance work and they fall, they break a hip.
Yeah, I agree.
And no, it's, will you lose some muscle mass?
Sure.
Yeah, but you're not going to notice it.
Right. Totally. I agree. And again, it's the like you and I both. We're constantly evolving, right? You're learning new things. You can improve yourself mentally, physically. People think I'm nuts sometimes when I tell this story, but I got glasses. I bet you when I was like 30, 35 years old, I was nearsighted.
Me too.
I don't wear glasses anymore, right. And they think I'm crazy. That there's no way, Tom, that you can. I believe so much that we can heal. Our body can heal itself if we treat it properly. Give it
there's actually some research done on that, and it is proven. If you put the glasses down. No, I'm not. Again, it's all dependent upon how bad your nearsightedness or farsightedness is, or if it's a chip in the lens, which has to be corrected with a contact lens or something like that. But if it's just run-of-the-mill myopia, which is the eye shape isn't perfect, and that's why you get either farsighted or nearsighted, you can actually, by a process of, I don't want to say squinting, but working without your glasses, you absolutely will improve your eyesight.
Yeah, no question. Definitely. Yeah. I believe that so much. I was getting years ago, it must have been 15, 20 years. I was getting tingling in my fingers like I had carpal tunnel. Went to the doctor. He says, yeah, you get carpal tunnel. Put this brace on, but you're going to have to come back in a month and get surgery. I got mad. I went home, threw the brace in the ground. I said, no, I'm going to start stretching my hand. I stretched my wrist, I don't have carpal tunnel anymore. I believe so much.
And this is not a knock on the medical community, because they have to, they're dealing with a large swath of people. Right. People coming in and out of the office every day. So unfortunately, not to their fault, but a lot of their answers when it comes to certain issues become very cookie cutter. I'll give you an example. Beth went to the doctor, and without looking up from her chart, now Beth is, I don't know, 5'2". I think she weighs 100. I catch fish that weigh more. I think she weighs like about 114 or 15 pounds.
Right.
And she's a marathon runner. So without even looking up, she just looked at her chart and said, "You need to eat better and start to do some weight training." I think I work out pretty hard. I don't even come close to how hard this woman works. And she's and disciplined, like doesn't miss a training session.
Right.
Does not. So my whole thing is, she just looked at her age without even looking up, said, you need to, and Tom, as you know, like you, all we eat is organic. And that's the problem. So when a 35-year-old guy goes into a doctor and is maybe 20 pounds overweight and has high blood pressure, the doctor will hand him meds instead of saying, hey, buddy, you got to start working out. You got to lose that weight, quit smoking, and your blood pressure will come down. But it's too, it's not part of their whole mindset.
Yeah.
They're ready to write a prescription.
Yeah, and again, like you said before, we don't want to ever talk anybody into not going to doctors. If you need to go to a doctor, you need to go. But it shouldn't be the first thing that you think of. So, is there another way that I can heal myself or I can feel better? Well, yeah. If I know that I'm overweight and I'm tired and sluggish, well, I need to lose weight. I need to eat more healthy, right?
There was an interesting documentary I saw a few years ago on Netflix called Forks Over Knives. I think a lot of people have seen that. It was two research, and they were both doctors. One of them was actually an Olympic athlete, I think back in the 60s. And they came up with the conclusion based upon their research that you can change cardiovascular disease, many diseases, just by eating. They're not big on meat. They believe it's really just it's a meatless diet. I don't know if I agree 100% with that. But what I do agree with is that we can certainly prevent I think that the number I heard last year when COVID hit, 80% of critical illness can be changed by lifestyle, meaning what you're eating.
No kidding. Yeah.
80%. So, go to the store, try to find real food.
Yeah. We've really been conditioned to look at food the wrong way, right? Food now is, and I enjoy food too, but food now is looked at as a source of comfort and joy and everything.
Well, what do we give our kids when they do something well?
Yeah.
You got a good report card. Let's go get ice cream.
Yeah. Totally.
So now you make an emotional connection to that particular food. When you're an adult, you look back upon that as a great time with your parent. You're not consciously thinking it, but it's there.
Yeah,
it's there.
Yeah. Well, one of the best things I did, I got there's lots of them. I got an app, my FitPal app, So I chart in all my foods all the time. So it shows me how much fat I put in, how much protein, how much carbs and everything. And it's not exact or anything, but it just gives you a guide of, you know, what am I putting in my body, you know, and knowing full well that, okay, if I have too many trans fats or saturated fats, that's not good for me. There's other good fats that are good for you.
So what I tell people who don't have the inclination to do that, or they just don't want to do it, I said, it's really simple. Your plate should look like this: a fist size of protein. So it's like, for me, a chicken breast, and a fist size of carbohydrates. So sweet potatoes. And then you can eat as much salad until your head explodes. You don't have to measure it out. Just keep it in until you feel good. But the thing is, usually, and I always save my salad to last, because that, if I'm a little bit hungry, usually I'm not, that'll fill me up. You know, that'll complete the deal. So yeah, fist size of protein, fist size of carbohydrate, eat as much as green leafy vegetables and salads as you want.
Yeah, I got in the habit there. I bought myself a little food scale, and I heard they're using that because I usually eat the same foods now, so I know, like you said, I guesstimate, you know, like a fist size is going to be 6 ounces or whatever. So
right.
The food. So I love this stuff. Yeah, listen, I think you and I'd like to go on a tour sometime just to educate people more about the foods we're eating and how much healthier we could be as a society. And even when it comes to the virus here, right? I mean, people are much more susceptible because they're overweight.
The WHO, which has come under a lot of fire because whatever, but even they, because there's been, you know, some disputes to their integrity. But in any event, they came out and said about a month or two ago that 90% of COVID deaths worldwide were related to obesity. Yeah. That was the comorbidity.
Yeah.
And
why don't we? And I think I know the answer why. Because all the lobbyists for McDonald's and Wendy's and all these places, you know, they don't want to hear it. But I mean, keep McDonald's open, but have healthier foods. Although I had this dispute, I think it was a discussion with Kevin Allen, who I did a show with, and he talked about, I think it was how, you know, people say that they want the healthier food, but they don't buy it, right? As long as you've got the hamburgers there, people are going to buy the greasy cheeseburgers.
Well, the other issue is economics. I mean, eating organic food is rather expensive.
Yeah.
And for people who don't have means, if I can get a meal at McDonald's for $1.
Yeah, that's what we do right there. Go to the video store. Thanks, Paige. Great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what though? Yeah, you're right. I guess like I'm lucky. I'm here working from home, so my meal prep is much easier. I can go down prep a meal while I'm working and everything like that. But I think with some planning, you know, like for instance, I made the lobster soup the other day, and I've learned with my soup, I roast up all the vegetables, and I put very little salt in there. Once they're all roasted up, I put them in the food processor or into a blender, and that makes my soup broth. And then I just add, you know, chickpea pasta or chicken, whatever I want. And that way you can store that, and you don't. If you look at a can of soup, and I know you know this, but if you look at a can of soup, the amount of sodium they put in there is unbelievable.
Yeah. You get high blood pressure just looking at it. But you know, and again, if you do the fasting, that removes a lot of your a third of your food intake.
Yep.
And
that's good. That's an excellent point. So really, all you're doing then, let's say let's say you have to go to the office. That means that you just need to worry about that one meal that you're bringing to you, or even eating out someplace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and definitely. It becomes a lifestyle, you know. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, and then anything else, like I get kind of cocky now with my cooking, where I made fish tacos a couple weeks ago, and the recipe that was to make this sauce to put on it, and I just used avocado mayonnaise and almond milk, and put some siracha. Is it sriracha? Sauce. Make it as hot as you want. Yeah. And it's great sauce. Now I think I'm Mr. Cool because I make my own sauce.
I really, you know, better part of my life, I didn't do any cooking, but of recent certainly the last 5 or 6 years, I do just about all the cooking here, and it must be pretty decent because Beth still talks to me, but
she still does. She feels bad for you. She doesn't want to say anything, right?
Bad. But I enjoy it. It's kind of cathartic. I enjoy it. You know, I put some music on, and it's fun because it's.
Oh, definitely! You get to cut your music on and you're cooking. Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
No question.
Hey, how's your New Jersey Warriors hockey going? You getting some more?
Yeah, and we had practice Saturday down at the Prue. We had a good turnout. I had somebody from that side of the river helping me, so I don't want to disrupt any Ranger fans, but and Bruce Driver, and Bruce and I coached for many years together.
He's a former Ranger, so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so he's all good. He's all good. And you know, so we coached a bunch of years together. We did a junior A team back in in 2003, and we coached our kids together. And anyway, so we had a good practice, and we had more players come out. NBC was there. I don't know when the thing's going to air. They did some piece on us. But we just registered for the Philly Classic, the Warrior Classic, which is the national tournament. It's going to be in Philadelphia this year, November 4th through the 7th. Just registered for that tournament. That tournament sponsored by Pink Whitney, which is Ryan Whitney and Bisonet. Actually, it's just Ryan Whitney. Yeah.
Right.
He's got that Pink Whitney vodka.
Yeah, isn't Bisonet part of that anymore?
I don't know if he was in on the business part of it. I don't know. But in any event, it's Ryan Whitney, maybe also Biz. But they've sponsored the tournament. Brad March coaches Philly. So
very cool.
It's probably going to be on somewhere around 30 teams.
So again, any veterans that are out there, if you want to play some hockey, listen, I'll speak for Mark when I say this. If you're a little nervous or whatever, feeling uneasy, but it's very relaxed. It's not like it's playing for the Stanley Cup.
So just everybody understands, we're not a hockey team where hockey is right here. Right here is creating a therapeutic community for veterans to come together, play some ice hockey, have a good time. And so any veteran that's interested in a program, if you go to njwarriors.org, you can look up the whole program, and there's even a way you can contact us if you have any interest in playing. We'd love to have you.
So Brandon Duffy. So here's a buddy of mine. He's excellent. He's a sleep expert. I think that's right. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Hey guys, Google sleep and muscle mass. That is all. Hey Mark.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to actually, Brendan, I'm going to reach out to them because, Tom and I are part of this big Navy SEAL swim we have coming up in August. And I'm looking to do a game against the Long Island Warriors, probably the Thursday night before the swim. We may have some other activities that the SEALs will get involved in, but that probably would be a really good opportunity for us to bring in the Hanson brothers. So
good. So just to be clear too, Brendan is a sleep expert, and he is correct. I agree. I think Mark and I both feel the same way. We believe the science how sleep is important for people to have.
Brendan knows
but having said that, I'm just a believer that if you don't get enough sleep, it doesn't mean you can't perform to your ultimate level. It's just more of a mental training to get yourself going. So I'm not doubting the science at all when it comes to sleep. But okay, and we touched on it there too. We have the Swim Across the Hudson, the third annual Swim Across the Hudson. That's going to be taking place
August 7th.
August 7th.
Yeah.
And so it started off with about 25 or 30 Navy SEALs swimming
First year
across
was 33.
Right. And it's a great thing hopefully it's opened up so that people can be a part of it. So we've got some time here before that, but it's a great event, man. It's a real patriotic thing when they start over in New Jersey, and the speeches and everything, fantastic. And one of my all-time favorite people that you introduced me to, Kenny Bigby Jr. Him and I are doing a show tomorrow on Facebook. Around at 1 o'clock here my time. So looking forward to that. So, all right. And again, if you guys are looking for a trainer out there, Mark does personal training, group training, online training, Patriot Training Systems.
Go anywhere now with FaceTime.
What's that?
Yeah, PatriotTrainingSystems.com. I said I can train anybody anywhere now with FaceTime.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
What's that?
We got to get you some better internet, though. I mean,
yeah, it's Optimum, and it's our only choice here, unfortunately.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, okay. All right, Optimum. Step up your game.
Yeah, I would love to get Verizon.
So then here's one of my favorites here too, Barry Shelley. So I think I mentioned before, Barry Shelley, a good friend of mine, is up at Cooperstown, New York, built a rink up in his own attic. Yeah. And Barry had sent, probably a couple of years ago now, asked me if I would sign an autograph for him. I did. It was no big deal. He sent back, he was so happy and thankful that I did that. He sent back his patch that he had worn on his uniform when he served, he was in the military police. So it's a pretty emotional thing. I still got that today. So good job. All right, Barry. All right, stud man.
Great stuff, Barry.
Stud man.
All right, man.
We'll see everybody next week.
Hey, I'll leave you with we're going to talk about quotes. I'll leave you with a quote, right?
Oh, that's right. Yes. Go. Yeah.
Did I lose you, Tom? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, well, first of all, before I give you I love quotes, whether it's sports or combat or whatever. But Max McNabb, do you remember Max? He was a GM of the Devils back in the day. So I was at a clinic, coaching clinic or something. He spoke about inspiration and signs, right? Quotes. And he had the opportunity to dress in an all-star game back in the day in the Montreal locker room. I guess what it was back then, the All-Star team played the team that won the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
Right? Was that how they worked it? So I think Detroit won. So the game was in Montreal. So he was with the Bruins, and he's dressing. And of course, there's so many inspirational signs and quotes inside the locker room. Something about "we passed the torch to you" or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, and I get my first pro job in the old Pacific League, and I'm coaching San Diego. And I knew I was in trouble when I went into our locker room, and the only sign up on the wall was a no smoking sign. So that was an indication that this was going to be a tough job. But anyhow, ice bags. I love this one, Tom. Ice bags prove you gave it up to win. Right? And that's true in hockey because as I told you before, when we won, I only made 9 bags. If we lost, I made a minimum of 12 bags. Guys hurt more when you lose.
Yeah.
And this one I'll leave you with, and I really like this, and this applies to everything. What's often repeated is often rewarded.
Nice.
Really
That's
like
excellent.
Yeah. So I collect all
one of the best I got from the movie Lone Survivor about Navy SEALs. It was part of their creed that they say anything that is worth doing is worth overdoing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Love that. Oh.
And I'll leave you with my last sports quote, and it was John McKay, who was coaching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he had come from such a successful program at USC, winning all those championships. Goes to Tampa Bay, and they're awful. They're just, I think at that point they were 0-13 or something like that. And at the press conference after the game, one of the reporters said, "Coach, what do you think about your team's execution today?" He said, "I'm all for it."
The other one, and I can't remember which coach said it too. The reporter asked him, "You guys can't win on the road," and the coach says, "Yeah, we can't win at home, but I can't find any place else to play."
Yeah. Well, how about Sutter? Sutter hates press conferences. Coach, what was it when he was in LA? What do you attribute tonight's win to? We got 3, they got 2.
Yeah, that's another one too. Yeah. How'd you guys win? How score more goals in the team? Yeah. How about when they asked the question, like, who's in net tonight? Oh, the guy with the big pads.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. So we're getting
Have a good one, Tom.
Yeah.